welcome back to my channel and welcome back to episode 3 of the Sims 4 Horse Ranch. It's the morning and Sadie is sitting down at the dining table with her grandpa. They're just having a chat before they do get going for the day and head outside into the stables. Clint is about to get up and is saying to Sadie, let's get started, let's get going, ready for the day. But I think Sadie is just going to say, hang on a minute grandpa, would it be okay if I just talk to you a second? I want to kind of ask you a question. Clint is going to kind of slowly sit back down and just be like, sure, what do you want to ask me? Please tell me it's good news and not bad. And I think Sadie is going to say, don't worry, I think it's going to be something you're going to be quite happy to hear. I've been doing some thinking and I was actually thinking, do you think it would be okay if I got my own horse? And I think Clint would be like, really? You want to get your own horse? I mean, yeah, sure, that would be great. If I'm being completely honest, Sadie, I never expected you to say something like that. When you came here, I could really see that you wasn't fond of the ranch. I seen that it's slowly been growing on you though. And Sadie's gonna say, yeah, actually, I've been thinking about it a lot and I think I would really like to get my own horse. I was also talking to Malia about it at the neighborhood bonfire and I think it would be a good idea. So what do you think? And I could imagine that Clint would get very excited by this. I don't think he's one to show his excitement, but I also think he's going to jump quite quick to this, and I also think he's a person who does stuff quite fast. He doesn't like to hang around and wait and think about it for too long, so I think he's going to say to Sadie, you know what, why don't we head to the equestrian centre today and we can go and get you a horse today? And I think Sadie is going to say to that, what, today? Really? I mean, okay, why not? I think Sadie is also going to be quite on board with that too. So I think that they are going to get going soon, but before they do, they're just going to come into the stable and do some cleaning up for Sandy. I also think too, Sadie is going to come over to her grandma and just say, hey grandma, guess what? Me and Grandpa are going to go to the equestrian centre today and I'm going to get my own horse. And I think that Ruth is going to be quite taken back by that. I definitely think she didn't expect this from Sadie, and I think she is going to say though, are you sure? Are you sure this is definitely something that you want to do? A horse is a very big responsibility. Your grandpa is constantly caring for Sandy. It's definitely rewarding, but a big responsibility. Are you ready for it? And I think Sadie is going to say, I think so. I've been doing a lot of thinking about it and I'm sure Grandpa will help me if I need any help as well, but I think, you know, I want to be a part of life here. I think that getting a horse would be great, and I think Ruth is going to be supportive and just say, okay then, we'll have fun. I'm excited to see the horse that you bring back with you. And I think Sadie's going to say, thanks Grandma, and I think she is going to just express her admiration, and also I think she is going to give her grandma a hug as well. Sadie is starting to become a lot more friendly with her grandparents now. She's getting used to them a lot more. Also, I am going to quickly pause because this fits quite well into the storyline. I currently have a mod in my game that is a bit of a changer for Sims interactions. It adds a few more interactions into the game, but Sadie just got a moodlet and says needs something new from needing a change in life, and I definitely want to incorporate that feeling into the fact that she wants to get a horse. I think that may be why she's feeling the way that she is, and I like that she has this moodlet as having a horse and adopting a horse is bringing something new into her life and bringing a big change. So I really like that Sadie feels that way. And as they were talking, it looks like Ruth was giving Sadie some nectar making and juice fizzing knowledge. I'm going to get Sadie to come in here and Clint also, and we are just going to quickly do some cleaning, and also we will refill the feeder too. Whilst I do that, I'm just going to also get Ruth to come and clean the goat and the mini sheep as well, as they're looking a little bit dirty right now. Also, I do have some names for the mini sheep. Thank you so much to Lynn Rainbow for suggesting the names. For this mini sheep here, I decided to go for the name Oreo. I like the idea that maybe Bailey chose that name. And then for this sheep in here, I decided to go for the name Marigold. I really like that name. I think it was really cute, and I like the idea that Ruth chose that name. As for the goat, I don't currently have a name for the goat, so if you do have any more name suggestions for our goat, I would love to hear them. Also, we're gonna need name suggestions for Sadie's new horse. Obviously, we're not sure what horse Sadie is gonna get yet, or what the horse is gonna look like, etc. But once we do adopt Sadie's horse, I would love to hear your name suggestions for her horse in the comments too. We're about to get going with Clint and Sadie, but before we do, Ruth has just stopped Clint for a chat, and I think that Ruth is probably just saying to Clint, so is Sadie adopting a horse? That's quite a big step. And I think Clint is gonna say, don't worry honey, I think that she is ready. She has taken on this new life quite well now, and I think she is ready for her own horse. She seems to bond with horses really well. I really want to open her up to this new experience. I think it will be great for her. I think Ruth is gonna kind of agree with him as well, even though I think she's a little bit on the fence about this, but I think that she is going to choose to be supportive of the decision. We are going to get going now though. It's time for these two to head down to New Appaloosa and go and adopt Sadie's brand new horse. So let's get going, and I'll meet these two once again when they do arrive in town. We have now arrived, and I think Clint is just gonna say to Sadie, so are you ready? Are you excited? How are you feeling? I think Sadie's gonna say, I'm quite excited. I can't believe that I'm doing this really. I never thought that I would. When I first got here, this really was not for me, but now I'm getting my own horse. It's kind of crazy. So I'm gonna get these two to go over here, and Sadie is gonna head inside. I'm gonna get Sadie to have a look at both rescuing horse and purchase horse. So first we're gonna have a look at this one. I would quite like Sadie to either get a foal or either a adult horse. I don't think I'm gonna get her to get an elder horse. I think for Sadie, I would quite like her to get an adult horse or potentially a foal. There isn't too many horses to rescue, and none that I really think would suit Sadie. So I think for Sadie, I am gonna stick to purchasing horse, just so then we have a bit more option. I think for Sadie, I'm gonna adopt this horse here. I think this horse suits her quite well. The horse is mellow, brave and intelligent too, and it is a female horse as well. I'm not sure if the name is pronounced Shiloh or Shiloh, but I am going to change that name at some point, so if you do have any name suggestions for this horse, then let me know. So let's go ahead and we will adopt this horse. Sadie is going to head inside. Clint is going to just wait outside for her, and there we go, horse purchased, done. And here is her brand new horse. She is so cute. Let's get Sadie to come over and give her a hug. I think this horse suits Sadie really well. I think Clint is also gonna want to meet Sadie's horse too, so we will talk to and also scratch neck too. I am gonna quickly jump into Creator Sim and change the horse up a little bit. So I've gone ahead and changed up Sadie's horse just a tad. I've just taken the bands out of her hair, and then I've also given her a riding outfit as well, which currently looks like this, but I think that I may change it in the future. I'm not too sure what colours Sadie would go for at the moment. I think actually I'm going to change it up to this colour here. I think for now this is what I'm going to go with. And then as for Sadie, I would also like to add it to her traits, which are currently a bit broken. I'm going to actually get rid of dog lover and instead add horse lover, as I think now that makes a lot more sense for her, as I think she is very much turning into a horse lover now, so I'm going to add that trait for Sadie. It has started raining and it's cold, so these guys have changed their outfits, but I'm going to go ahead and get Sadie to mount her horse for the first time. And I think as she does this as well, Clint is going to say to Sadie, we can now both go for rides together. And I think Sadie is going to say, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. That would be so much fun. Of course, she's going to have to train her horse a bit first, but we are going to go ahead and ride home. We're going to get Clint to just walk home, and I really want to see how Sadie goes. She is quite good at riding horses now. She is level 3 in the horse riding skill. I would like her to get that up a bit more, I think, before she does start entering competitions, which I would like her to do at some point. I feel like Sadie maybe hasn't thought about it too much herself, but I think that Clint is going to push her a bit to do that. We have now arrived on home. We're going to get Sadie to dismount, and I think Bailey has come over and is like, oh my gosh, your new horse. I think she's going to come and say hello, and I think Ruth is also going to do the same thing too. I think first though, Ruth is going to come over to Sadie and just check and see if she's okay and ask her how it went as well. And I think Sadie's going to say, it went great. I can't believe I've got my own horse now. This is crazy. I think that Clint is going to also encourage Sandy to socialize with Sadie's horse, so then hopefully they can become quite good friends. Looks like Sadie's horse is settling in already. I'm going to get Sadie to come and assign bed to her horse as well, and it looks like they're already making good friends, which is good. Hopefully they get to know each other. Today has flown by though. It's now already 6:30 in the evening, so I'm going to get these guys to come in and grab some dinner. Ruth is going to ask Sadie if she wants to cook dinner with her, and I think Sadie is going to say yes. I'm going to get them to make some bangers and mash for dinner, and Clint and Bailey are going to come in here and watch some TV together. Clint is going to sit and watch the Wild West channel. I'm going to get Bailey to come and sit with her grandpa, and she's actually going to do some knitting. She's going to go ahead and knit a beanie. I think she's going to knit a beanie for herself, and I think she's going to make the black and white bear beanie. Ruth has been teaching her how to knit in her spare time, and she's slowly getting the hang of it, so I think she's going to sit and do some practicing of that while she waits for dinner. And as for these two, they're cooking dinner together, and I think that for Sadie this is going to be a bit bittersweet, a bit saddening, but also I think really lovely, as she used to cook and bake with her mum quite often. So I think to do this with her grandma, I think it's making her feel a bit sad, as it reminds her a lot of her mum, but at the same time I think she is starting to actually feel a bit comforted by that, and a bit comforted about the fact that she can cook with her grandma as well, which I think she didn't expect. And just as I say that, Sadie also has enjoyed spending time with family recently. It's become very important for her to bond with her family, and I think this is perfect. I think this is great, because when Sadie first got here, she was very distant from her grandparents and also from her sister too. She just was not enjoying being around family and people, but that has been really changing for her, and I think I'm going to embrace this change for her and this trait, and I love that so much. I think that is great for Sadie, and these two now have a sentiment from cooking together too. But I am going to get Ruth to call everyone to the meal, and they can all sit down and eat together. Things are really starting to look up for Sadie now. There's been a very big positive change in her, and I don't think she really expected it, but I think she's really happy that that is the case for her. I think Bailey is also going to talk to her sister too, and I think she's just going to say, now that you have a horse, are you going to enter competitions just like Grandpa used to? And I think Sadie's going to say, oh, I don't know, I'm not really sure. I mean, I kind of thought about it a little bit. And I think that Clint is going to say, well, Sadie, it's definitely a great thing to do. If you do want to do it, definitely let me know and I can help train you up, and I can be kind of your mentor, your tutor. It's getting late now though. I think that Ruth is going to influence Bailey to go ahead and take a shower and get herself ready for bed. Clint is also going to do the same thing. I think he is just going to say to Sadie, enjoy the rest of your dinner. Before Sadie heads upstairs and gets ready for bed, she's just going to come out here and check on the horses. I feel like she would always be keeping an eye now on her horse and just making sure that she's okay. So I think she's going to say goodnight to the both of them before she does head inside. She's just going to come and give them both a hug and say goodnight. And the sheep and the goat are also heading to sleep too, which is so cute. Sadie is going to say goodnight, and she's going to say, tomorrow we can do some training, okay? Your first training. I know you're going to do great at it, okay? So I think tomorrow Sadie is going to take her horse to the barrels and the jumping and just practice some riding. We can practice and maybe competitions. That could be a lot of fun, right? Everyone else in the house is asleep now though, so Sadie is going to come and take a shower and get in her pajamas. Sadie is now in her PJs, and of course before she goes to sleep, she is going to come and sit and write in her journal. I think that she is going to write about about her goals and her hopes. And also I think she's going to write about friends and family too. For some reason Sadie doesn't seem to actually be writing. I'm not too sure why. It could be a mod that I have in conflicting with this. But just imagine she's writing and she's just writing about the day that she's had today, about adopting her new horse, about how she cooked with her grandma and also spent time with them as well, and how her thoughts are kind of changing and that she thinks that this could definitely be for her, this life could be for her, and she's really enjoying it. But she's going to wrap that up and put it in her inventory, and then of course she is going to hide the journal as well back in her safe place, and then she is going to head to sleep. I'm looking forward to spending the day tomorrow with Sadie and her new horse, but for now I'm going to let her get some sleep and we will catch up with her again in the morning. It's now the next day, nearly 7 a.m. and everyone is starting to wake up this morning. Sadie has just woken up, so I'm going to get her to get dressed for the day. I'm going to get her to just put on a shirt and jeans today. I'm going to get Sadie to come down and actually try and make herself some breakfast today. She's not usually one to cook big meals, but I'm going to get her to try and make herself some eggs and toast. She is cooking skill at level 2. As she comes down, she's just going to say good morning. So Sadie is going to cook up herself some eggs and toast, and her grandma is just in here cleaning, but I think that they are both going to talk, and Ruth is just going to ask Sadie, so what are you up to today? Me and Grandpa I think are going to take the horses out today. I'm going to practice some jumping and stuff, so hopefully it goes well. And Archie is hanging around probably looking for some food. Sadie is all done with her breakfast, so she is going to come in to the stables and help clean up. She's actually feeling very happy today. She has no sad moodlets, which is great. I think Sadie is probably saying to her sister, what are you doing in here? As she never usually comes in here a lot, but I'm going to get these two to have a talk, and maybe Sadie can just kind of joke around with her and tell her some jokes. Tell a joke about horse butts. I feel like Sadie would say something like that to her sister. These two don't actually have a very high relationship. Their relationship used to be a lot higher, but unfortunately it did go down quite a bit. Just from everything that went on, their relationship did kind of go down a bit and they're not as close. So I definitely think that Sadie is going to try and make a bit more of an effort with her sister and just try and get a little bit more closer to her again. I'm going to get Clint and Sadie to head out in a second. Before they do, I just want to quickly get Ruth to start crafting some nectar. I'm going to get her to make some grape nectar. And today Bailey is going to be off just going on a bit of an explore. She likes to just hang around and look for frogs and just run around the neighborhood, have a good time. So she's going to go off and do that today. But we are going to get going with Clint and Sadie. It is now nearly lunchtime, so I'm going to get Clint to come and mount Sandy. He's currently angry because he had to pay the bills and he was annoyed about that. But I'm going to get Sadie to also come and do the same thing and come and mount her horse. And for the first time she is going to be going on a ride with her grandpa, which I think she's very excited about. I'm going to get them both to come over here. Off they both go together on a really nice relaxing ride. They're heading over to the barrels and the jumping poles. They did just decide to walk there as it is Sadie's first time properly on her horse, so she is looking a bit unsure right now, probably a bit scared that her horse is going to throw her off any moment, but she's doing a good job so far. And Clint is looking quite happy as well. I think they're probably talking, and I think Clint is going to say, I think it would be a good idea if you practiced jumping today. I think that's definitely the first thing he would recommend Sadie to learn with her new horse. We have arrived, and I think Sadie is just going to begin and practice basic jumps. I think that Clint is just going to let Sadie go off and do it herself now. And I think Clint is going to practice barrels with Sandy. Even though Sandy doesn't enter competitions anymore, I think they would still like to do it together just for fun. So they're going to go and do that, and we're going to hang out with Sadie. And she did just reach level 4 horse riding skill. She can now discuss horse riding with other Sims, so she has enough knowledge now to talk about it, which is great. And she is less likely to get bucked off of a horse while riding as well, which is good. It's now a little while later and Sadie has been doing jumps for a while now. It's been quite a big struggle for her though. She's actually been finding it quite hard. She's usually used to Sandy, who is a very well trained horse, and I think having a horse that is having to be newly trained, I think she's finding it a bit difficult, and I think she's kind of rode over and got off of her horse and come over to her grandpa, and she's quite angry. I think Clint is going to ask her what's wrong, and I think that Sadie is just going to say, this is so hard, I just can't do it. I think she's going to kind of lash out a bit because she's just kind of been keeping it in for a couple of hours whilst trying to carry on going. And I think Clint is just going to try and calm her down and just say to her, you have to remember it's going to take practice. It took me years to get to the place where I am with Sandy. Try and calm down. There's no need to get too mad. I think she's just feeling a bit embarrassed. And I think Clint is going to kind of calm her down a bit. And I think that she's going to be a lot less angry now. But I think instead she's just going to feel quite sad and overwhelmed as she got angry. And I feel like she'd feel a bit sad afterwards. I think she's going to kind of have tears in her eyes. And I think she's going to kind of be like, I'm sorry, Grandpa. I'm so sorry. I just didn't expect it to be this hard. I don't know what I was thinking. What if this was just a really bad idea and I just should have never done it? And I think in this moment, Sadie is just going to feel a little bit lost. It was all going really well for her and she was feeling great. But now that she's been faced with a bit more of a challenge that she's struggling to deal with, it's making her feel angry. It's making her feel sad. Even though she thinks that this is something that she wants to do, I don't think she was expecting it to be quite difficult. She is still relatively new to living a life like this, so it is understandable why she's struggling. I think she knows that it's going to take time, but I think right now she's not really thinking that way. I think she's just going to get quite upset, and I think she is just going to kind of say to her grandpa, I'm just going to go home. Of course, I think she's still going to take her horse home with her. I think all Sadie thinks in these moments is how she just wishes she could go back home and be in the comfort of her old home in Willow Creek and with her parents, and I think she just feels like that right now. I think Clint kind of got on his horse quite fast and was just a bit like, Sadie, wait a moment. And I think he's kind of thinking in the back of his head like, oh no. So he's gonna get off of Sandy and come in here where Sadie is and just try and catch her for a moment. And I think he's gonna try and talk to her and head over, but I think that she is just gonna walk off. And Sadie is gonna head on in and just head it straight upstairs to her bedroom. Clint is going to walk in right behind, and I think that he is just going to kind of walk into the kitchen where Bailey and Ruth are. And I think Ruth is going to come over to Clint and just be like, what's happening? What's going on? As I can imagine, Sadie probably came in the door very loud and just went and kind of ran upstairs. And I think Clint is going to say, I think Sadie's just struggling a bit. I don't think she was expecting this to be so tricky. I had only trained her on Sandy before. Maybe that wasn't the best idea. As for Sadie, she's just in her room currently just crying. She's just feeling very overwhelmed. I think because she's feeling that way, she's also just thinking, this was such a stupid idea. I should have never got a horse. But I think right now Sadie just kind of wants to be left alone, so then she can just cry it out. It's now a bit later on in the evening and these two are sitting outside on the porch just having a drink of nectar. They're just having a chat and a bit of a debrief about what has happened this evening and about Sadie. I think Clint is going to say to Ruth, I feel really bad. I feel like this is all my fault. I shouldn't have encouraged her as much as I did to go and get a horse. Maybe it was too soon. I just thought she was ready. She seemed so enthusiastic that I wanted to really be on board with her. And I think Ruth is going to say, don't blame yourself, it's no one's fault here. I feel like maybe you're right in the sense of we should have maybe encouraged her to get a horse. A bit later on, maybe she wasn't ready for it yet, but all we can do now is help her out and just care for her and understand how she's feeling, I think. And I think Clint is going to agree with that, and I think that he is just going to be like, you know, I wish I'd just given her more training first. I should have helped her learn a bit more about new horses and new training, and I kind of forget that that aspect can be quite tricky, as I feel like it was so long ago since Clint has done that and trained up new horses that he kind of forgot that it is quite challenging. And since Sadie is struggling to adapt so much anyway, I think this has just taken a bit of a toll on her and it's just making her struggle a little bit again. Of course, they're still going to keep Sadie's horse, even if she doesn't want to ride the horse anymore. I just think Clint is probably really hoping, and I think Ruth is a bit too, that Sadie can just change her mind and hopefully feel a lot better about the situation, and hopefully she will want to be more a part of the horse life again. But right now Sadie just needs space and just needs to be in her own thoughts for a bit. But that is where I'm going to be leaving today's episode. I really hope that you did enjoy it. It's kind of ended on a bit of a sadder note, but we're going to have to see what happens in next episode and catch up with Sadie and everyone again then and see what's going on. But it was really nice to adopt a horse for Sadie. I'm really hoping that Sadie will change her mind about all this. I don't know if she is feeling like she never wants to ride horses again, or if she's just right now just needs a moment to debrief and just figure out what's going on. But we will catch up with everyone again in next episode. But other than that, thank you so much for watching today's episode. I really hope that you did enjoy. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!